Welcome to another episode of Fun Facts Artist Series presented by Creative Herd Studios. Today we're going to talk about Michelangelo. We all know and adore Michelangelo, the fun-loving Ninja Turtle who eats pizza and likes to party. But did you know he was named after a Renaissance artist? In fact, all of the Ninja Turtles were. Michelangelo in real life was more like the personality of Raphael on the Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo was a bit of a hermit. He didn't like other people very much. He wanted to focus on his art. He thought that was the most important thing that you should do. He was so into his art that, similar to Van Gogh, he put all of his efforts and all of his focus into it. He would eat crusts of bread, and he would have trouble sleeping at night. So he would get up in the middle of the night, and he actually constructed this device, kind of like a helmet with a sort of modified candle on it made from goat grease because it dripped less than regular candle wax would. And he would have this candlelight on his head that he would use to be able to do his artwork at night. He was just very dedicated. He also was kind of an unclean hermit, so he didn't really care for taking a lot of baths. He didn't really care for changing his clothes or even taking his boots off. He had boots that were made of dog skin, and he would wear them even at night. And they say that he took them off so infrequently that when he did take them off, it would actually get stuck to his skin, and it would pull bits of his skin off with it. He didn't believe in wearing socks, and it was just kind of part of what happened when you would wear boots and nothing between your skin and the boots. It would start to fuse. Michelangelo didn't get along with very many artists. In fact, there's a lot of misconception. You see Mikey and Leo being friends and getting along and being the Ninja Turtles, but in actuality, he really didn't like Leonardo. He thought that he was too social and partied too much, and a real artist doesn't go out and party like that. He would make fun of him in public. Leonardo was quite a bit older than Michelangelo. Another incident with a rival sculptor was they got into a fight and he ended up getting a broken nose. He insulted artists so often that he got sued. He even got even with a critic one time by putting him into one of his paintings, but he was smothered by a coiled snake. All right, let's dive into this story about the snake around the guy. I think this is a cool story. Basically, the Pope came in and brought a critic with him, and the man looked at all of the artwork in the Sistine Chapel and said, no, this is too much nudity, that's wrong. Well, for Michelangelo, the human form, the way that God created it, was the ultimate in divine honor. And so that's why he had so much nudity in his artwork. But this man was criticizing him, and it made him angry. So when they left, Michelangelo went in and added this critic to the Last Judgment painting in the realms of the demons, and this is him coiled by a snake. That was his revenge on the critic for putting his 2 cents in about his artwork. Yeah, not quite a likable personality, and that's why I'll relate it back to Raphael, because Raphael was just very much, this is what we do and this is what we're about, and there's no time for the partying and playing. You got to be about this. And a lot of people, he just rubbed him the wrong way. One of his most famous paintings that he has done, or really series of paintings that he's done, is the Sistine Chapel. And it's kind of an interesting story there too, because he really didn't want to paint the Sistine Chapel. He just wanted to sculpt. And so there was a project that was to be done in the church where he was going to be sculpting, and the Pope was like, no, I need you to paint this chapel. And he's like, well, no, I didn't come here to paint, I came here to sculpt. And so the way that the Pope actually convinced him was, I'll let you do this sculpture, but you have to do the painting part too. And that's how the Sistine Chapel came about, with Michelangelo doing the paintings in it. But he much preferred doing the sculpting than the painting. One of Michelangelo's favorite forms of art was to sculpt, especially out of marble. And he claims that his love for stone came from the fact that he was nursed by a stonecutter's wife. So that passion for stone was transferred to him through the nursing. Kind of an interesting idea. Maybe not. I think he just was an artist who liked to sculpt. Pretty much, if he got a block of marble, if he could see the image in it, he would just carve away the extra marble from the sculpture within. That's kind of how he referred to it. Michelangelo often used men as his models for any kind of artwork that he was doing, he used the human form a lot. He would use men not only for the men in his works of art, but as he would also use men for the women. And if you've ever looked at any Michelangelo paintings, the women seem kind of burly and larger built than what we'd actually be. That's a lot of the reason why he was actually using men as models for that. So Michelangelo actually lived to be a ripe old age of 88, and this was very uncommon during that time. But again, because he was so dedicated to what he did and dedicated to being able to create and make things, he kind of took care of himself. I mean, he wasn't clean or whatever, but he did continue working in his old age. They say he could split marble with a single strike even in his old age. He rode horseback all the time. Every day he was riding horseback. He didn't matter what the weather was. And so he stayed active, and him staying active kept him sort of young. When he did die, he actually died from going out on a horse ride in the rain, and he died a few days later from that. That's what ended up killing him. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode of learning about Michelangelo. I will see you later.